The rankings of Asia's most powerful countries are out. Released every year by Australia's Lowy Institute, the Asia Power Index allows us to make sense of the rivalry between the United States and China, the shifting balance of power in Asia, and India's rise. So first, the big picture. The Asia Power Index ranked India the fourth most powerful nation in Asia, after the United States, China, and Japan. Ranked on a score of 100 across indicators like military power, economic strength, and cultural influence, India ended up with a comprehensive national power score of 36.6, which is only narrowly behind Japan. However, the United States and China retain a major lead and are the only countries classed by the index as superpowers. The United States has a score of 80.7, while China has a score of 72.5. The index has some good news for India. India's sheer size means that the country is almost certainly destined to be a major power, behind only the United States and China, says the report. Apart from finishing fourth in the rankings, India scores highly on particular metrics. New Delhi's diplomatic influence in Asia increased in 2022, with experts rating it highly for its leaders' ability to secure the country's national interests both in Asia and on the global stage. India scores highly in the future resources measure, where its growing economic strength and young population place it third in the region. In fact, on the specific measure of demographic resources, India finishes first in the region. The report also found that India's geoeconomic and geopolitical security, which speaks to the ability of the country to defend itself against financial or military aggression, is among the highest in the region. On most major defense metrics, like defense spending and warfare capabilities, India features among the top 5 regionally. Encouragingly, India also holds a substantial advantage over regional countries. On important indicators like demographic resources, diplomatic influence, and military capability, India remains well ahead of regional competitors. However, there are also challenges. Given numerous shocks to the global system, like the pandemic and the war in Ukraine, countries across the region have seen their comprehensive national power decline over the last 5 years. India has followed a similar trend, and its comprehensive national power score fell from 41.1 in 2018 to 36.3 in 2023. Especially in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, India's score on indicators like government effectiveness and internal stability have declined. This has meant that the gap between India and superpowers like the United States and China has grown rather than become smaller over the last 5 years. The report also calls India a patchy power. While India's influence in its immediate neighborhood is strong, its influence in Asia generally is patchy. For example, despite its economic heft and resources, India ranks 6th when it comes to international leverage. This means that its ability to use its economic power to influence others is lower than countries with much smaller economies like Singapore and South Korea. Part of the reason for this is India's economic diplomacy. As a result of its refusal to join major trade pacts like the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP, New Delhi is less economically integrated into Asia. It ranks 18th in economic diplomacy, 7th in regional investment ties, and 4th in regional trade relations. On each of these metrics, China dominates the region, which is a worrying sign for India and its partners like the United States. India also has certain capacity issues. While the country receives high marks for its strategic ambitions and regional political leadership, its diplomatic service, the Indian Foreign Service, ranks 10th in Asia after much smaller countries like Vietnam, Taiwan, and South Korea. New Delhi's manpower struggles are well known. Its diplomatic service is much smaller than most competitor nations and was once famously said to be the size of Singapore's foreign service, which is a much smaller country. Perhaps because of these capacity constraints, India ranks 7th in Asia for global political leadership, behind much smaller countries like New Zealand, Australia, and Singapore. In the end, the Asia Power Index provides a mixed picture for India. While it remains far ahead of regional competitors and is closing the power gap with Japan, it also remains behind superpowers like America and China. Similarly, while India performs strongly on metrics related to future resources, economics, and defense, its ability to project its power beyond its backyard remains constrained. As India continues its rise, the Asia Power Index indicates that the country has its work cut out for it.